brothers out there. Say, honestly, I was like, boss is good. Next time, let's go. Everyone, you guys up there safe? Everyone, I'm safe. This lesson right here, you know, during the peak time, everyone's out and about. It's 12 o'clock. So we'll keep it brief, keep it to the point, and I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So, big thing in the news everyone's talking about is Israel formally declaring war on Hamas. So that's gonna be the first thing I'm gonna go ahead and pick up. There's a quick article about Israel, you know, signing up and officially declaring war with Hamas, which, as we know, is gonna all lead up to World War III. All right, and World War III is gonna be fought in the Middle East because when you look it up, Palestine is in league with Syria. You know Israel's also had wars in Syria as well. You know, if you look it up, Syria is involved with Russia. That's World War III. That right there is more than enough to bring about. So this guy passed. It's gonna be extra loud today. So brothers out there, you know, listen closely. I don't have the loudest voice. I'm not a loud brother. So we'll just let's just look up Israel declares war. Let's just look that up first. See what we get our hands on. And then while that's loaded, we can go and get into a verse or two. Oh, never mind. Down there. This could get a little windy. So this is CNN.com. Israel formally declares war against Hamas as it battles to. Let's see here. Okay, well that's loading. But this is currently an updating event, so whatever I tell you, you know, look it up for yourself. You'll probably find a little bit more info. You know, I only just report, you know, as I see it. So the first thing we might as well go ahead and pick up is Jeremiah, Joel 3. We'll just go ahead and get that. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 1. Alright, let's go pick this up. Behold, in those days and that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Alright, same thing talked about in Revelation. The, what do you call it? The 11th chapter. I think it's like 3,500 days, which pretty much equals to 350 years, you know. It's pretty much from 1600s to around about the time Reuben came on the scene. I don't need to go explain all that, right? You know, Elijah returned to restore all things, which is Reuben's, not Nate Satan, not, you know, what's his name, Zabak, or any of these guys. None of these guys did what Reuben did, you know. No one else is Elijah but him, because he came back and restored all things. Not me, not you. You know, that honor goes to him. You can't take that away from that man. You know? But no question on everything what's going on with IUIC. If they're really saying that Nate is Elijah, then bro, IUIC is fucking gone, bro. Like, that camp is over with. I also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, when they are scattered among the nations and pardon my land. Right? So we're the two nations that are really down there. It's the Amalekites, people calling themselves so-called Jews, like the Khazar people, those are Amalekites, they pretty much came out of the land of like Russia, Georgia, and they kind of was following our ways for a hot minute. That goes back to Kagan Bullen and the whole account where he pretty much chose Judaism for his nation, but really if you want to go back with Edomites following Judaism, that really goes back to like John Hyrcanus and the mass conversion that began with the Hasmonean dynasty. So this history of them following our ways goes back deep, because they already had their own rabbis, and they had their own rabbinical literature going back to the 1st and 2nd century AD, which has nothing to do with us. Our people, we were calling ourselves Romans, being Holy Roman that time period. We were, 1st century, 2nd century AD is mostly us just calling ourselves Roman. But in time, we just called ourselves, we're pretty much just Roman. We were calling ourselves Moors. But you still had some of our people that were among them as well. And I don't believe that it was only them calling themselves Jews. You also had Jakes calling themselves Jews as well. You had Moors that were Jews, which shows that they're real people, They went into Africa, as we all know. That's Revelation, the 12th chapter, right? And pretty much Jehoshaphat, I believe, means ruler judge, essentially, ruler judge. Alright, and the land, Valley of Jehoshaphat is pretty much the Middle East. Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, that whole area is where World War III will take place. Right, so CNN.com, Israel formally declares war against Hamas as it battles to push militants off its soil. Immediately, when I woke up a little bit late today. I guess shows it was a spirit, because I was getting ready. When I wake up, I like to watch men's physique page. I'm into the whole bodybuilding thing. As you guys can tell, I'm a little doubled in size over the last year, but that's neither here nor there. But this whole stuff, I wake up and I'm looking at the little Amazon. They have these little Amazon little TV, and I'm already seeing the propaganda pushed out by the Zionists. They're already pushing that stuff out, saying that hey, they're slashing women's throats and they're throwing babies off of buildings or some shit. Well, they didn't say that, but I'm already hearing the anti Palestinian rhetoric and propaganda. And to be honest, they be doing the same stuff. They be spitting on them and stuff. So at the end of the day, they're gonna bring America to a fall. That's what America's heading for. As you all know, America's already ruled, by the Zionists. They essentially run this country as a Zionist occupied government. And what was interesting is that this Palestinian, Islamic forces, Hamas, whatever, the guy said that we're fighting against the last great occupation, which is what it is. These people have occupied and gained control over the whole world. We say America owns the whole world, but who owns America? No. They run all the news stations. They run the media, the television, right? They run everything. They're the heads of the Illuminati, right? They run it all, man. So we can get back to this article, but actually before we get back into the article, we're actually going to hold on Joel 3. We'll get back to that one in a second. But we can go into Numbers 26. Alright, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing of Balak and Balaam. I can read a commentary for you if anyone's in the no one's watching, of course. But if anyone was there and hacked me to, I would go into it. If you want me to go into that, I'll just go into it. Or if I ever have the spirit jump on me, get into it, I'll get into it myself. But honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory. Nothing really deep is here. So, it's Numbers 23, 26, 25, Shittim, Balak, well, I can't find this. We're gonna look it up. I usually am pretty good at getting this one. This is one of my favorites. But right now my brain isn't clicking right. So we're just gonna look up simply is the term Amalek. Alright. So Amalek, you know, that's loading up. Oh shit. Take it in. Alright, so this is Amalek chapter 24. Yeah. So we'll go get that one real quick. This is Numbers chapter 24. Honestly, I could start from the top with this one because it's just such a great chapter. So this is the book of Numbers chapter 24, verse probably walk out of his buckets. Scroll down. This is the book of Numbers chapter 24, verse my messenger. Is it really Numbers 24? Is this bugging out? Because I'm not finding this right now. So Numbers 24 and 20. Okay. This is the book of Numbers 24, verse 16, he hath said, which heard the words of the Most High, knew the knowledge of the Most High, and saw the vision of the Almighty fall into a trance, having his eyes open, right? Because pretty much Balak was called by Moab to make a curse on the nation of Israel, but the Most High pretty much forced him to make a blessing for the nation of Israel. So turn the curse into a blessing, you know? Like the scriptures talk about that no divination and none of these other nation stuff are going to be able to succeed against us, which is true, you know? None of these curses or voodoo, none of that shit works against us. You know? I mean, I've seen family members, and I've talked a lot about, you know, my personal life, but yeah, you know, I've seen family members have loved ones, or ones that they thought they loved. They put that stuff on them. See, you're tapped, try again. Okay. So yeah, we're live, but that stuff is very, very real. People do that stuff, so. It's Numbers 24 and 20, 16. He have said, which are the words of the Most High, no knowledge of the Most High, the vision of the Almighty, fall into a trance, having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter rise out of Israel. I shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. Alright, so we think that's talking about, right? The Messiah, right? You gotta go back to Genesis, the 49th chapter, to get the understanding of it. So let's get Genesis, the 49th. Let's look at Genesis 49, 8. Judah, thou art he on thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Right? So Judah, thou art he on thy brethren shall praise. Right? Judah is the warrior tribe. Also, the royal priestly tribe, or not royal priestly tribe, just a royal tribe. They will also be priests in the kingdom of heaven. Everyone will be kings and priests in the kingdom. But Judah is the royal tribe, you know, and that goes back to, you know, King David, right? The lineage of King Saul, you know, was pretty much taken from being the rulership disposed because Saul was going off big time. And pretty much King David was the one chosen, which King David already came back on earth as King Basha, and it's unknown if he's reincarnated or not. Who knows? You know, who knows who he is now. I heard one brother say that that young guy who was out here could have been reincarnation of Ricans. Once again, we don't really know. You know, it's unknown to us. You know, it could be any of us. You know, any of us young guys in this truth. Which is pretty interesting to think about, you know? So, Numbers 24, you know, Genesis 49, the 9 Judah's lions walked from the prey. My son, thou hast gone up. He stooped down, he couched the lion, as a wood lion shall rise him up. As dreams the lions woke from the prey, my son thou art gone up. Right? So he couched down as a lion, pretty much he pretty much lost his warrior spirit. You know, that's what happened to our people. You know, it's not really that our people have lost their warrior spirit. It's more like, you know, our people have misused their warrior spirit. You know, our people are fighting each other, murdering each other, you know, because the rap music and the low frequencies, you know, which is pretty much required to like even post music, I believe. You know, I was listening to one guy, he said that he couldn't even upload music on certain platforms because of basically the hertz and the frequencies wasn't low enough. So they didn't even let him post. So I'm gonna go get something here. I'm gonna double check. Because I believe when it says Judah's lion's whelp, it means that, you know, he's pretty much like a full lion. He's already full. He's not looking to hunt anymore. He's not looking to kill him. He's not looking to have that warrior spirit. But we're seeing that warrior spirit come back in a big way. And there's all these different Hebrew groups coming out now with, you know, guns and stuff. And they're going out here and they're really, you know, about their business. So you also got these random, you know, so-called black defense groups. You know, I don't know about Hispanics. Hispanics, I'm sure, got their own stuff. But yeah, they're all gonna come down, and, you know, also gonna get your race wars. Right, so and it's talking about the Abrams, the first children, the Edomites. So he couched down. So yeah, the lion's whelp was done, the lion from the prey, my son thou art gone up. Right, Esau's the prey. You know, and Judah will forget that Esau was his enemy. Right, he stooped down, he couched the lion, and as an old lion, right, Judah was brought down to America via slavery and made docile like the old lion. And you got the slave documents that proves that. You know, they wanted to make sure that they broke the so-called American Negro. Right, so who shall rouse him up? Right, so who's gonna rile up Judah, get him back in his warrior spirit? Right, the Lord will. Right. So this is the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 18. Edom shall be a possession, so shall be made possession for his enemies, and Judah and Israel shall do violently. Right, so let's see what precepts these guys got. So this is Numbers 24 and 18. Oh, I get it. They're trying to say, you know, with King David having a garrison in Edom, that was that prophecy coming to pass. But you can argue with that, but there's a lot better. There's a lot better, man. So this is the book of Isaiah. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 1. The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, officer of Judah, Jerusalem, it shall come to pass in the last days of the mind that must pass. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 2. It shall come to pass in the last days the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Alright, so you have something called the summit meeting, right? And the summit is the highest point of a mountain, right? Now what is a summit? You know, a summit is where world leaders meet up, because governments represent mountains. Right? And many people shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we'll walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. You know? That's pretty much what it is. You know? So these other nations are going to come to Jerusalem to ask about the law. Right? Because we know that in the latter days, when we are in the new covenant, we'll have no need to be told of the law. So the fifth, Jacob is the 12th, the boy continues. Flags, not looking it up. Fornicator. It's fixed for a little while. Melchizedek. Verse 8, example, shadow of the heavenly things. Let me see if I can find this for you guys. Yes, it is. It's the book of Hebrews chapter 8, verse 9, not according to the covenant. Yes, verse 8, Hebrews 8 and 8. For finding fault with them, he saith, right, talking about the first covenant, right? Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. And as you know, the reason we couldn't keep the first covenant is because, you know, we're pretty much sealed under sin, going back to original sin. So it's impossible for us to keep the laws to the perfect ability, you know. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of Egypt, because they continued not my covenant and regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their heart, and I will be to them God, and they shall be my people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest. Okay, so that time hasn't happened yet. Right now, we still have to teach our neighbors, right? We're not in the new covenant. Have our people, like when you look at, you know, so-called black, Spanish, Native Americans, they look like they're so righteous, where they, you know, need no teacher. You know, our people need teachers. To this day, people come up to us and ask us questions. You know, I come up to me like a month ago asking me questions. To this day, there's still a remnant of our people, the hopeful elect, who are still seeking guidance. But in the kingdom, no one will seek guidance. How even 2/3 seek guidance? You know, they just don't want guidance from us. You know? They got those itchy ears. They want to hear a new thing. You know, they don't want to hear like in Athens. They want to hear the new thing. They don't want to hear what we have to say, because we're going to give it to you the hard and straight way. Give you the straight path, the straight gate. Tell you, listen, you got to learn what you got to learn. You got to go through this punishment, this pain, this suffering. And that's pretty much it, you know. I'll tell you, you know, as soon as I came to Israel, you know, all the demons started hopping on me. I had to go do what I had to do. You know, I'm still fighting. You know, we all do. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 3. And many people shall go up and say, let's go up to that mountain, to the house of the God of Jacob, reaches of his ways, and will walk in his path. As I shall keep the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. They shall judge among nations, and shall beat many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. They shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So pretty much when we get back in that land, the nations will not learn war anymore. Now, if, you know, the Israelis, which I believe some Israelis are actually, you know, real Israelites, the darker ones, I believe that they are actually Israelites, because you have some that have always been there in that land. You know, and they're a little bit on the darker side. You know, I believe that those may be the real people, because you got to understand that after 70 AD, you know, not every Jew left Jerusalem. You know, with the siege, not every Jew. It wasn't like, you know, Israel was just completely absent of Jews after 70 AD, because when you look into the records, I believe it was Domitian, after 70 AD took place, they made the Pharisees the Sanhedrin. You know, the Sadducees were essentially gotten rid of. When you look into it, it was only the Pharisees that pretty much ran the show. They pretty much ran everything. You know, forgive me, I have to keep my head on the swivel. I'm out here by myself, and this stuff is kind of dangerous out here, man. Right? So, verse Hebrews 8:12, right? Probably merciful to their wretchedness, and the sins of iniquity will not remember no more. Right? So that's pretty much that new covenant, you know, which we haven't seen yet, we haven't experienced it yet. You know, we're not under the first covenant anymore, right? Because, you know, when you read up earlier, it talks about the first covenant had fault within it. You know, but we're within a grace period right now before martial law comes down, the gates of mercy are closed, and it'll be every man for himself, every man to his lot. Alright, so you get into this article, right? CNN World, right? Israel. I'm gonna get more into the numbers 24. Just be patient. Right, so CNN.com. Israel formally declares war against Hamas as it battles to push militants off its soil. Right, which they're the ones that caused this conflict to begin with. They're the ones that pushed themselves into the land through the Rothschild family. They bought up parcels of the land, you know, and to this day they pretty much got themselves in there. Right, so Israel formally declares war on Hamas on Sunday, setting the stage for a major military operation in Gaza as fighting rages on Israeli soil following Saturday's surprise assault by the Islamic military group in which hundreds of Israelis were killed. The shock terror attack led to the deadliest day in decades for Israel and came after months of search and violence between Palestinians and Israelis, with the long-running conflict now heading to uncharted and dangerous new territory. Right? And Israel have been doing, you know, war and terror attacks themselves for who knows how long. They spit on those Palestinians. They oppress those people. You know, if you look at a map of Israel, you know, they were pretty much supposed to share the land. I mean, you look at it now, they pretty much swallowed them up. They got them surrounded essentially on all sides. You know, they don't have any territory. Right? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed retaliation, warning his country will take mighty vengeance, and was readying for a long and difficult war ahead. He urged Palestinians living in Gaza to leave now. Throughout Saturday and into Sunday, Hamas launched thousands of rockets from the Gaza Strip into Israel, making direct hits on multiple locations inside the country, including Tel Aviv, armed terror attacks into Israel and infiltrated military bases, towns, and farms, shooting at civilians and taking hostage. Right now, Isaiah 2 says when the real people in that land, that, you know, there would be no war. But here you go, you have war. So what should that tell you? The people in that land are not the people of the Bible. And we already went through Jew all 3. We talked about how, you know, these heathen would part their land to divide his land, right? Part the Lord's land, literally, because they're staying in it. And they literally partitioned it up. There's certain parts they give to the Palestinians, certain part they give to the Jews. Yeah? The number of dead in Israel following the attack by Hamas Saturday is likely to be over 500. CNN analysis suggests more than 2,000 have been injured, according to the Israeli health minister. Hundreds of dead bodies killed by Hamas fighters that attacked the music festival just at 6:30 a.m. near the Israel-Gaza border. Can be seen in new photos released by the Israeli Foreign Ministry have given the first glimpse of how many attendees were killed. You know? Israel has reportedly responded by launching airstrikes to what it has said that Hamas targets in Gaza, as forces clashing on the ground, Hamas fires in villages, army bases, and border crossings. The army said that the military was clearing terrorists at Israeli communities and restoring control. Alright, so this is something that's clearly going to lead, to a big war. You know, this is a major military operation that's unfolding right before our very eyes. So, you know, obviously, eventually America is going to be involved. You know, I don't believe that America is going to send troops into Israel, but very possible. You know, at the very least, they're probably going to send, some weapons over there. It's going to become a mess, man. You know. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 50, and spoil, hammer the whole earth, cut asunder, this is Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord of Israel, that ye have purposed to take against Babylon, which is America, his purposes, that he purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which the Chaldeans back then were like the elite of Babylon, the witches and warlocks. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right, at least the flock are talking about, Amalekites, Amalek. the people who are, calling themselves Jews, which pretty much you go into that word, it pretty much has no correlation with the original people, because if they were really trying to make a correlation with the original people, then they would say something like Judean, So we can, and the word Jew, as you all know, the word Jew did not exist to the 1800s. They had a different word for Judean. That word is completely made up. So this is Jeremiah 50, right? This book of Jeremiah 50, 46. We can go read on down. The next chapter, see if we get some extra understanding. Draco princes. And this is pretty much going to prove that it's talking about the Edomites here. Let's go take a look. Spoiler. Judgments. So they're up. Be patient with me, Hawking, so I'll find this. Sync. Rumor. Now, how do you do a search with this? We're just gonna look this up the classical way, because I know there's something I'm looking for. Judgment of Babylon. These are the flocks you draw them out. Jeremiah 50, 46. So, 46 Revelation. Yeah, it's 29. 51 and 29. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 29. Right? And the land shall tremble. And the land shall tremble in sorrow for the purpose of the Lord's true form against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant, right? But there's something that I'm looking for in particular. Ararat 51, sing for Babylon, no man should dwell therein. I don't know what this is. Do you have Babylon, right? Broken. We're in the book. Suffice to say, it's written here and it talks about Edom in this one, and then the other one it talks about, it doesn't necessarily talk about it, but it proves it. Right? His fame. There's his shield. Okay, so I'm not going to find this, so what I'm going to do is go back to Jeremiah 50, not Jeremiah 5. Damn. Jeremiah 50. Alright. Oh, damn, dude. Hopefully the live isn't like shutting down or something. That'd be a tragedy. Like, if I spent this entire time and you guys didn't see a single thing, like, I'd be kind of disappointed. So this is Jeremiah 50. I thought I wrote a breakdown here, but I guess I didn't. Destroying wind. This is waters. Early nonsense of falsehoods. Course of the writer. Right. Destroys the earth. Compare this nation to kings of the Medes. Honestly, I'm gonna give up in a few seconds. I'm not gonna find this. Going forth. Rumor, this is ruler. Let's go away. States. Not up to heaven. Drinking. Shut off. Oh well. I quit. I'm not gonna find it. So what I am gonna get instead, because I can't find this, is just this. Numbers 24 and 18, right? You shall be possession, so shall be possession for his enemies, and so shall be violently. Verse 19, Jacob shall come to him, shall come he that dwelleth his vineyard, who shall destroy him that made for the city, right? Who's gonna destroy it mostly? America. And when we looked at Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Right, so Amalek was first of the nation, right? So they were the kings. Yeah. You know? So
that's pretty dope.
Let's get in some evidence here. Got the good old book, Facts Are Facts. We'll go into a little bit of this, because I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but pretty much talk about how they got into that land, and I think I'm going to close it off here. Yeah, let's get in a little wild. So I'm going to definitely get out before it gets a bit more crowded, you know. Alright, so I'll start here. So this is page 7 of Facts Are Facts by what's his name? Benjamin H. Friedman, who was one of these big name Jews, right? So what happened? World War I broke out in summer of 1914. There were a few people here to remember that. Now that war was waged on by one side by Great Britain, France, and Russia, and on the other side by Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Turkey. Within 2 years, Germany had won that war. Not only won it nominally, but won it actually. The German submarines, which were a surprise to the world, had swept all the convoys from the Atlantic Ocean. Great Britain stood there without ammunition for its soldiers, with 1 week's food supply, and after that, starvation. At the same time, the French army had mutiny. They lost 600,000 of the flour the French need in the defense of Verdun, called the Somme, right, where they lost a lot of men there at Somme. That was a big battle of World War I. The Russian army was defecting. They were picking up their toys and going home. They didn't want to play war anymore. They didn't like the Tsar, and the Italian army had collapsed. All right, so at the beginning of World War I, essentially, Great Britain, France, and Russia were already collapsed. They were pretty much done for, right? So let's read on what happened. While that was going on, the Zionists in Germany, who represented the Zionists from Eastern Europe, went to the British War Cabinet. And I'm going to be brief because it's a long story, but I have the documents here to prove any statement that I make. They said, look here, we can yet win this war. We don't have to give up. We don't have to accept the negotiated peace offered to you now by Germany. We can win this war if the United States will come in as your ally. The United States was not in the war at that time. We were fresh, we were young, we were rich, we were powerful. They told England, we'll guarantee to bring the United States into the war as your ally to fight with you on your side. If you promise us Palestine after you win the war. In other words, they made this deal. We'll get this war, we'll get the United States into this war as the ally. The price you'll pay is Palestine after you have won the war and defeated Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. Now, England has much right to promise Palestine to anybody, as the United States would rather promise Japan and Ireland for any reason whatsoever. It's absolutely absurd that Great Britain, that never had any connection or any interest or any right in what is known as Palestine, should offer its corners of realm to pay the Zionists for bringing the United States into the war. However, they did make that promise in October of 1916, and shortly after that, I don't know how many here remember it, the United States, which was totally pro-German, entered the war as Britain's ally. All right, so that's essentially what happened. That's pretty much how, the Zionists occupied, Israel. They had no connection to that land. That land was, pretty much left with the Ishmaelites. You had Palestinians all up and down that land, and the League pretty much came in there. The Balfour Declaration was nothing but a receipt for a fraudulent exchange. a completely fraudulent, wicked exchange. That's like, actually, when you really go into it deeper, because the Jews, they were actually offered different lands. They were originally going to give them, I think, a piece of Africa, or give them, I think, Colombia or something, someplace in South America. But they were just, dead set and gung-ho about getting that land, which is prophecy. That's Joel, the 3rd chapter. They were completed prophecy right there. All right, so that's pretty much what happened. That's how they pretty much got it's that land. The Rothschilds came up, started to buy off territory, buy off land, But you gotta remember, the only reason that they were able to get into that position is only because of the Rothschild family. So, it was only because of the Rothschild family. If it wasn't for the Rothschilds, they would never be able to pull stuff like that off. You can look at the whole thing by Albert Pike. Albert Pike, he talked about it. There was a letter from, I believe it was from Pike to Mazzini, Giuseppe Mazzini. Giuseppe Mazzini was the guy who started the Italian mafia. And basically, Albert Pike outlined, the 3 world wars. And it pretty much happened, exactly as he said it. World War III is pretty much going to be between the Islamics and the Zionists. Which we're seeing right now. It's playing out right before our very eyes. So that is pretty much it. That's pretty much everything on the news. I'll keep my eyes open to this. Israel has the possibility to be another Ukraine. It's very possible. There could be another Ukraine situation. It's another eternal war going on. But we'll have to wait and see. But I think this thing is going to blow up to very large proportions. It's not going to end up like Ukraine. They just kind of, eventually they're just starting to pull shit. Jump ship. But we'll see what happens. Israel might actually win this one. But we're gonna turn face east. We'll say Kalayim Yehovah Bashim Yahshua. The one see us the bosses of Great Millstone. And I'm done. I'm out of here. It's crazy out here. I'm dipping out.